everyone and welcome to LW Kitchen and the Hive HQ. Today it's all about pancakes, and I have to say I'm a bit of a savoury bird, so these aren't going to be sweet, but next week I'll show you some sweet ones too. So the first thing we're going to do is to make thick American style pancakes. You don't need a pancake pan for this, you just need a large frying pan which you want to get warm. Into the bowl you want to put some self-raising flour and I'd say 200 grams of self-raising flour and about a teaspoon of baking powder. Into that you then add a couple of eggs. These are quite large eggs, and I normally do this by eye. You know, every time you make this and you put different amounts of milk in, it will turn out slightly different. So really you're going by how it looks. So the eggs go in along with a little bit of milk. It should be about 200 mils, but you kind of want it to be like a really thick batter. That's too thick and lumpy, so I'm just going to add a splash more. Now I would say that is about perfect. And if I tip that bowl up there for you to look, that's the thickness that you want. You can almost sign your name on the top and it will almost sit. All right, so that's ready. If you put too much milk in, don't worry, just add a little bit more flour, okay? So we're now going to cook them. I'm going to use a mixture of oil and butter. Not all butter because it can burn very easily, and I'm using unsalted butter for this. And if the pan starts to go really fast, then just pull the pan off the heat. Okay, so a ladle or a large spoon, and you just want to whirl that butter around and oil around the pan, and I hope you can see right in this pan. And I'd say for a portion we're looking at probably 2 pancakes, although if you were serving my son Isaac it would probably be 4. Okay, so let's just put that in there. It's a couple of lovely pancakes. I'm just going to do 3. Let that sort of cook away. Probably, should I do? No, I'm going to do 2. Oh, I just can't decide today. So what you can do is have your oven down low, and then if you're cooking quite a lot of these, then you can just keep them warm in the oven while you're cooking the rest. Don't overcrowd the pan, that's really important. And now I'm looking at that looks quite safe, so I'm just going to turn my pan up a bit. I don't want to burn the butter because that really spoils the flavour of it all. Meanwhile, back at the range, you want to just fry yourself off some bacon. If you don't eat meat and you want a vegetarian version of this, I would toast off some pine nuts, okay, which is really lovely over this. Now you can see now that these are bubbling away really nicely. One of the things I really like to add to my pancakes, savoury pancakes, are onion seeds. So I'm just going to sprinkle those over the top. If you haven't got onion seeds, it doesn't matter, they'll still be delicious, but I just love that whole sort of savoury thing going on, and just sprinkle those over the top. A little bit of extra black pepper, and I'm smelling, you can see they're starting to puff really nicely, and I'm just going to flip them over like that and just wait for that one just to set just a little bit more. And I'm just going to add just a touch more oil there into the pan, okay, and you can see just at the sides there, they're rising nicely, and that is that baking powder working in the dough, okay. And of course we're using self-raising flour as well, so we're getting a nice bit of rise going on there, okay. So I do this dish all in one pan just to sort of save on the washing up, because once these are cooked I'm just going to let them sit on the side while I make the fantastic tomato ragu. So I'm just going to put just a little more butter in there, ready for those tomatoes to go in. And those pancakes are looking really, oh, look at those. They are looking really good. Oh, with those toasted, wonderful onion seeds. So I'm just going to move those off to the side now. They take a few minutes each side. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add the tomatoes into the pan, like that. And I'm also going to add a little bit of chilli going in there too. Now you can make this tomato ragu ahead of time if you want to. But what I'm going to do now is just let that cook. And the tomatoes I'm using are baby plums, but you could use cherries or, you know, whatever you like to use. The other flavour I adore, of course, is basil. I absolutely adore basil and tomatoes. Marriage made in heaven. Absolutely gorgeous. So you want to really get a little bit of caramelisation on these tomatoes. The way that you can do that is you can cheat by adding just a little pinch of sugar. And that will get a little bit of caramelisation going on. I got some lovely salt and herbs and lemon, courtesy of the Hive. They sell this, it's really lovely. And those tomatoes, you can see, are starting to soften up nicely. So I'm going to chop up my basil. Don't over chop it because you lose all the flavour in the board. I'm going to clear the surfaces because we are nearly ready to serve up. So I like to put this in a nice big dish. Tomatoes, you can see now, are starting to caramelise off. They're not falling to bits, but they're just starting to go golden. So at this stage, I'm going to add a little more olive oil. And I'm also going to add a splash of balsamic. Oh, yes, that is looking good. And I'm going to add my gorgeous basil just before the end. Okay, so ready to serve up. My bacon is doing good. My basil is chopped. My plate is ready. And I've got those gorgeous tomatoes and they're doing, oh, look at the caramelisation that has happened there. That is looking really, really good. So, pile your pancakes, which are still warm. And I'm just going to put a few tomatoes in the middle there. Oh, look at that. A bit of the bacon on the top. Another pancake. Oh, and those tomatoes. Don't worry if they drop off the top of the pancakes. It doesn't matter. You know, we have a saying at the cook school, perfect is boring, okay? It's good for your food to look real. All right, now you've got just some juices there, which I don't want to waste. So I'm just going to just add a little more of that balsamic and oil into the pan. And what I'm going to do now is just drizzle that over the top of my lovely tomatoes. Before I do though, bacon. And then your lovely juices, the balsamic, going over the top. Finish with your fresh basil. Oh, savoury pancakes, delicious.